Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together live here on Facebook for this wonderful cluster that we are, full of headlines from our city, our state, our country, along with information that we exchange with one another with one single goal, hopefully, to connect better with each other and to connect better with Mexico, our culture, our way of life, and of course, our city, Puerto Vallarta, as a community of English-speaking locals. How is everybody doing today? Today is Tuesday, November 2nd. It's the second and final day of Day of the Dead this year. We're going to have some more Day of the Dead information to share. And what else do we have today? We have news about schools, news about campaigns. There's another campaign for leftovers, another vaccination campaign that we're going to talk about today. And a few other things that are relevant, some more relevant than others. But as you know, we always strive to have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, everything trying to get us more connected with our city, our country, our way of life. Today, as always, we encourage anybody that is new to let us know that you are new to this live broadcast by writing the word new. And of course, to our friends on YouTube, lately I've been thinking about you quite a bit. We've never gone live on YouTube, and I've always wondered what that would be like. And of course, personally, there's also the juggling issue of comments, live comments from YouTube and live comments from Facebook at the same time. But we're doing some research. We're doing some research as to how and when would be a good time to go live in both platforms. If anybody has any comments to that effect, if you would like to see Coffee and Headlines live on Facebook, let me know. And maybe what I'll do is for today's broadcast, when I put it on YouTube, I usually don't leave the comments open on YouTube, but maybe today what we'll do is we will remember to allow commenting on the YouTube broadcast. And what I would like to find out is whether you would like to be able to enjoy Coffee and Headlines live on YouTube along with live on Facebook. So that is one thing that I wanted to let you know. And of course, yes, very quickly, Tony heard another news feed that the Rezagados vaccine is going to be on the 5th. It's actually starting tomorrow. I will give you more details in just a few seconds. And, you know, of course, Tony was very kind to add a Q to his comment, which helps me understand that you have a specific question headed my way or you want some commenting on a specific issue that is important to you. So if you have things that are truly important to you, it helps me a great deal to differentiate between conversations you're having among yourselves and things that you would like yours truly to comment on if you add a letter Q at the beginning of your comment or question. So let's get right onto it. Well, let's get snarky, or ever so slightly. We start with Halloween. The excessive crowds at Puerto Vallarta's Malecón on Halloween night, at the tune of 10,000 people or so, did not go unnoticed, drawing criticism from a multitude of local media outlets and also private citizens who took to social media to voice their concerns. And just as noticeable as the 10,000 or so tourists and locals that sauntered through the Malecón was the comparative absence of authorities from all three levels of government to control access to the Malecón or to distribute face masks. Now, this is an interesting situation. I've thought about this since we reported it. And, it is a mystery. And it's a fascinating situation because on the one hand, it makes one wonder if people are paying attention to the news or not. Then there's also the issue of whether authorities are disseminating enough information for people to notice. I mean, we'd like to think that everybody knew that the Malecón was not going to be open for festivities. But of course, either people did not get the memo or people chose to ignore it. And then, of course, there's also the mixed message that we've been getting from the local government. Yesterday, I walked into town to run some errands, and I walked a little bit through the Malecón just to see what was going on. And during the course of the afternoon, the city was installing all kinds of chingaderas along the Malecón to celebrate the Day of the Dead. Now, I know that it's an important celebration. I know that it attracts a ton of tourism, and it's important for the well-being of the city, but it completely contradicts the current guidelines that have been put into place by our governor. So, as we said yesterday, choose to go or choose not to go. I choose not to go because I want to take care of myself. And of course, in 2 weeks from now, when the incubation period has come and gone, we will get a sense as to whether a situation such as the one that took place at the Malecón this past Sunday night is going to have adverse effects on the COVID-19 numbers. And we're going to leave it at that. Now, moving right along, yes, we have learned that there's another COVID-19 vaccination campaign for leftovers that has been announced. This time, they're using the Sinovac vaccine. It's another 2-shot procedure. The campaign begins tomorrow and continues through Friday at La Lija. Not only will folks be able to get their first vaccine, but also those who got the Sinovac vaccine back in July will be able to get their second shot if they missed it. A press conference has been announced for today where additional details may become available. In the meantime, as before, if you are planning on getting vaccinated, downloading and printing your vaccine registration from the Mi Vacuna website is strongly advised. Also, please keep in mind that only 10,000 vaccines will be made available for this campaign. In the last leftover campaign, there were only 10,000 vaccines, and the vaccines ran out on the first day. So please consider going tomorrow if you are one of the people that, for whatever reason, has not yet received your vaccines. Now we have some good news from Jalisco's education system. Since the beginning of the current school year, Jalisco has adopted a hybrid model, allowing students to either choose between actually going to school or continuing online. The good news is that as of last week, 91% of preschool, elementary, and high school students are now back at school. This is an increase from the previous week in which 86% or 5% less students were attending. Of course, the main concern here has been students, teachers, and staff being at increased risk of contracting the coronavirus from each other. But the number of COVID cases that can be traced back to schools has been insignificant in our state. This particular news item has a bunch of numbers and statistics for anyone that is particularly concerned about this situation. Yesterday, we reported on the progress being made at the Isla Rio Cuale market rehabilitation, and today we have news about the Insurgentes bridge work, which has, of course, begun. We don't have specific information about when the bridge is expected to be completed, although this article now mentions a tentative completion date sometime in the month of January. But it is worth mentioning that cutting edge heavy machinery is now in place, so I suppose that's a good thing. The article also mentions the increasing signs of wear and tear on the other vehicular bridge along Ignacio L. Vallarta Street, which is now the only vehicular access in and out of Colonia Emiliano Zapata from El Centro. We know we can drive in and out through the Libramiento, but we are going to start our bets at some point as to when the bridge is actually going to be completed. Let us hope sooner than later. But yours truly wouldn't be surprised if Semana Santa comes by next year and they're still going at it. Let's see, what else do we have? Two more. So City Hall has been, this is about payroll at City Hall. City Hall has been questioned about its ability to pay its employees, that is, whether the city has enough money for payroll or not. In this news item, we learned that according to the municipal treasurer, Manuel Palafox Carrillo, the city does have enough funds to cover salaries, but in the most recent payroll period, and as a unique instance, they say, the city opted to pay some of its employees by check and not through a direct deposit to their bank account as usual. Why would the city choose to do this? Palafox's answer was to make sure that people are actually showing up for work. Apparently, things did not go smoothly for all employees that were paid by check, as some checks were rejected at their bank. But according to the treasurer, this had more to do with signatures not being recognized by the banks, not a lack of funds. The methodology seems a rather odd to me, but if this is how the new administration is going to go about to make sure that people hired by the city over the past 9 years are actually working for the city, so be it. It is worth explaining that in Mexico, and I don't know if this happens in other countries, we have a term, it's aviador. Aviador is somebody that flies. It comes from aviation. And aviador is a term used for those people that are on government payroll but do not actually work. And this has been an endemic problem in Mexico's government for many, many years. And it is a matter of fact that there are a lot of people that somehow end up getting into payroll, but they don't work. You know, somehow they were just added to the payroll. So this is what our government, apparently, our municipal government, is now doing to ensure that city workers are actually city workers and doing what they're supposed to do. The last formal news item that I have is brief, but I think it's important. Mexico President Andrés Manuel López Obrador will travel to New York City, where he will attend the United Nations Security Council session, during which he is expected to also have a private meeting with the UN's General Secretary Antonio Guterres. Those are the only two events in the president's agenda, according to Mexico's UN Ambassador Juan Ramón de la Fuente. Let us hope that our president has a good time in New York and accomplishes all kinds of good things. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of this important meeting, which is going to take place. I'm not sure if it's this week or next week, but it's definitely happening sometime soon. Now, let's turn over to the weather forecast just to see what we can expect for the next few days. Does the sun really think he can hide? We see you behind those clouds, stupid star, says our snarky carrot weather. Whatever, I say. It is 27 degrees right now. It feels like 31. Humidity is not as high as before, 83%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees presently is 81 degrees. Our weather forecast for today indicates we will have a humid and overcast day with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 21. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we can expect a humid day with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 22. And then Thursday, it'll be humid and partly cloudy with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 21. Where is the cooler weather? I keep asking myself. Yesterday, I ended up taking 3 showers during the day between errands because I was schwitzy. And I don't know how you're dealing. It does feel a little cooler, I will say. So that is a good thing. Let's see. We have a couple of lighter items that I want to share with you, starting with Mexico's El Buen Fin, or the Good Weekend. It is coming. It is 2 weeks away, and we have learned that approximately 900 local businesses will participate. El Buen Fin is Mexico's response to the United States Black Friday, where thousands of businesses prepare special deals to benefit consumers, or so they say. We've mentioned this before and we'll mention it again. There are great deals to be found during El Buen Fin, but there's also some questionable ones. So it is always good to keep your eyes open and read the fine print. El Buen Fin will take place this year from November 10 to November 16, November 10 to November 16. And of course, there is a website in Spanish, alas, where you can register your business if you want to participate. And as it gets closer, you are also able to search for specific shops that you may be interested in. How do I personally use El Buen Fin? I like to see if there are airlines offering good deals, or if there are local hotels offering special promotions just for the occasional staycation. But, we all have different things that we'd like to shop for. So check it out. We'll continue to report on El Buen Fin as the date nears. I also wanted to let you know that Mexico's official soccer team is again under fire due to fans chanting the homophobic word puto during a recent soccer tournament, a soccer game. This time around, Mexico's soccer team will be fined $110,000. Yes, $110,000, and will be vetoed from 2 games. I think we've explained the context of what this is about in the past, but if I'm mistaken and you would like to understand more about this word and the chant and why the International Federation of Soccer Games frowns upon it, please write the word soccer in your comments, and I will be so very happy to elaborate on this issue. Last but not least, this is not directly related to Puerto Vallarta, but it somehow affects our daily lives. Netflix Mexico has just announced an increase in their 3 prices, with 2 of their 3 plans being more expensive moving forward. The basic plans remains at 139 pesos per month. The standard plan goes from 196 to 219 pesos, a 23 peso increase, and the premium plan goes from 266 to 299 pesos, a 33 peso increase. The new price is going to affect this month. It doesn't sound like a lot of money, but for some people it may be. I like my Netflix, and I'll continue to pay it. I see some soccer comments coming up, so let me dive into this now before we continue with our comments. Let me get that out of the way now. Whenever we've talked about bad words or foul language in Spanish, and I'm sure this is not exclusive to Mexico, a lot of the words are insulting or are derogatory according to the context. One such word is the word puto. Puto is like calling somebody a faggot. And I know that my friends will call me puto, and I will call them back puto, just like some African Americans are comfortable enough to call each other the N-word. But the word takes a different meaning. A word can take a different meaning when it is spoken or chanted by somebody else. In Mexico, for many years, it has been traditional, unfortunately, for many soccer game attendees to criticize players by chanting the word puto during the games. I don't remember if it's puto or puto, but for many, many years, if you went to a soccer game in Mexico or where there were Mexican fans involved, traditionally the Mexican fans would yell something like puto. And it sounds like fun, but it isn't. It isn't. At some point, the world got wind of the situation, and in this new environment that we live in, it was frowned upon that the word or the slur faggot was used out loud because it doesn't send a positive message. And for better or for worse, I hear the word puto being used quite openly in conversations. In fact, if you go back and listen to our walk down San Sebastián del Oeste not too long ago, I was walking around it, around San Sebastián, and this guy kept saying puto this and puto that in the background. And when I was editing it, I figured, do I leave this here? Do I not? And I just left it because, who am I to get involved in other people's conversations? But the bottom line is the International Soccer Game Federation, or whatever the organization is called, pretty much knocked on the door of the Mexican team and said, guys, this has to stop. You have to somehow persuade your fans to not use this chant, or else you will be fined. And that is what is going on. Unfortunately, old habits die hard, and the Mexican Soccer Federation is having a difficult time eradicating this chant. And that's what the chant is about. What can we learn from this? Well, as always, whenever we've discussed questionable language here at Coffee and Headlines, I've always tried to advise being mindful of where you use it or how you use it, and that's it. That's basically it. So I hope this explanation gives you some context. Charlotte says, I say this with love, but it's football or football, not soccer. That's important to us Brits and others. Good to know, Charlotte. Here in Mexico, we use soccer and we use football indistinctly. So if it's important to Brits and others, I say good for you. So, and I say that with love as well. I mean, I hear people using both words down here, and both words are equally important to Mexicans. So let me rewind and take a quick look at everything you have commented so far. Of course, we have all kinds of wonderful good mornings. Raymond, you always take the pun award. Yesterday, I posted a photo of an inflatable chicken that was sitting. It was sitting on the sidewalk next to Cha restaurant near my house on Francisco Villa, and I posted a photo and I just said, caption this. And of course, the best caption was Raymond's, as usual. It was punny and absurd and weird and wonderful. And I suppose that's what Raymond is. And I say that with lots of love. Thank you, everyone who participated yesterday in the caption competition. Well, it was not a competition, but I figured, captions would be fun. And they were. Good morning, Paco. How's it going today? It's going swell. Michael, thank you for asking. I got up early this morning and started a load of laundry and started some pasta sauce, which I can smell, and I'm getting all these things out of the way early because today I'm going to go teach a private lesson on how to bake happy brownies. How's that for being a nice friend? So it's going good. I hope it's going good with you, Michael. Thank you. Let's see what else we have. Oh, a nice update from Claude. Stitches came out yesterday and physiotherapy started yesterday. I hope you have a very fast recovery. We already saw this one, Tony. You have your answer. But that said, I did notice that they said there's going to be a press conference this afternoon, so more details may be revealed later on today about this vaccination campaign. So if there's anything important that we learned, we will share it on the Facebook page for Coffee and Headlines. But again, I cannot insist enough. If you're still missing your vaccine, don't wait until a day after tomorrow. Go tomorrow. And it's going to happen at La Lija. Let's see what else. Comments on YouTube, says Roy Hardy. Thank you very much. I've noticed that. And let's see what else we have. Tony comments, ignorance is a tough enemy. I will have to agree. Thank you very much for that. Heather comments, Banderas Bay also has a vaccination campaign this week offering both AstraZeneca and Sinovac. That's good to know. If you are living in Banderas Bay, please keep this in mind. Let's see. Oh, a new person. Can Aussie Dawn. Hello, Can Aussie Dawn. New. Good morning, Paco and audience. New friends arriving tomorrow from Vancouver, Canada. Really looking forward to the next few months in Puerto Vallarta. Love your daily broadcast. Very informative and fun listening. Thank you very much. May we continue to provide nurturing connections for you. And may you have a safe journey down to Puerto Vallarta. Anna comments, I have read about a few international travelers coming into airports and not being given the normal 180 days visitor status. Some getting 20 days, some getting 40 days. And some zero, like turn around and go back. That is if there is no permanent or temporary status. Any comments? The only thing that I can comment to you, Anna, is that we don't pay particular attention to travelers here at Coffee and Headlines. So I apologize if I don't have precise commentary for you. But I am sure that there are many sources of information elsewhere online, not to mention Mexico's consulate, where you can probably find out more specific information if this is important to you. And again, I apologize, but keeping up to speed with travel requirements for visitors or people that are flying into Puerto Vallarta is not our forte, I'm afraid. Let's see what else we have. A poll on when we think the bridge repair work will be done. I think that is a great idea, Karen. Let us wait for a few weeks just to see how progress is being made. And maybe we can then have a contest or something. Not to be pessimistic or anything, but when they originally said it was going to be done by December, I figured, ooh, that's a little bit on the optimistic side, but we'll see. Hopefully, we never know. Let's see what else we have. This doesn't have a cue, but I think it's an interesting remark. It is interesting to note that two words having to do with flying, aviadores and paracaidistas, or parachute jumpers, both have to do with illegal activities. Absolutely. Paracaidistas, if I am correct, and I am ready to be corrected if this is not the case, has to do with people that just land on private property and private property, usually in unattended plots of land or pieces of land, and they just start living there. And before you know it, you have a whole community of people living in land that does not belong to them, and getting rid of them becomes a very complicated thing. How much can a PR or TR comment on local politics before getting deported? Jamie, I would answer your question, but I don't know what a PR or a TR comment is. So I'm afraid I cannot help you with that question. If you care to be more specific and elaborate and let us know what a PR or a TR comment is, I'll be happy to comment back. Hey, Paco, would you mind sharing the website again of the site to look for shops participating in El Buen Fin? Gracias. Charlotte, yes, I would mind, only because it is going to be featured as part of the show notes, as we feature every single website we mentioned in the broadcast in the show notes. So I would ask you back, would you mind patiently waiting another 5 or 10 minutes when the show notes will be up so that you can get that information yourself. Or better yet, if you are in a hurry, you can always Google El Buen Fin and you will find the answer to your question. Let's see what else. A lot of soccer, and we have answered that, so we don't have to worry about this. Is there a female equivalent to the P word? Like dyke, diesel dyke, like that? Rita, I am not well. Well, I am. I do know a few words used in a derogatory fashion to refer to lesbians. I don't know that I'm prepared to go there. Oh my God, I even got a cough from that. Let me answer that privately, Rita, because I'm not an expert. I'm not a lesbian, and I've never been in the habit of using derogatory terms towards lesbians. So I'd have to do some research, but I promise I will. If it's important, yes, I will. But give me a few days to answer that one. See, I'm blushing. I don't know those words. Let's see what else we have. I just took a phone call and muted Paco, and closed captions automatically came on my screen. Interesting. Well, that is wonderful news. Charlotte says, totally down for your Happy Brownies class. Well, it's not a public class, I'm afraid, but hey, there's all kinds of resources online. I learned how to make my Happy Brownies online, and if you want the specific links as to where I learned how to do it, you know how to contact Coffee and Headlines. Just send me a message through the contact page, and I'll be happy to answer your question or point you in the right direction. Mark says, my wife would like to know where you get your yarn. I usually go to La Perlita. It's in downtown Puerto Vallarta. I don't have the exact address. It's on Calle Juarez. There is another store here on Vienna Street that has more exclusive, fancier yarns. But you know me, I yarn on a budget, so I go to the one that is on Morelos Street. Juarez or Morelos, I forget. It's called is it called La Perlita? Yes, it is called La Perlita. And if you send me a reminder, I will be so very glad to give you the Google location. Let's see what else. Oh, permanent resident, temporary resident card holders. Thank you. I didn't realize what that was. Again, that is a good question. But I think it's a question that has to do with legal issues, Jamie. And I think you may want to get an answer to that question from the consulate or from a legal advisor. I actually don't know that information personally because I am neither a personal resident nor a temporary resident. Somebody else here in Coffee and Headlines may be able to provide you with an answer. But again, with those kinds of situations, you probably want to seek some official answers. Let's see. Lucas is getting the munchies just thinking about my brownies. Okay, well, that's good. That's good. And Mark comments, that's where she gets her yarn as well. I should add, just parenthetically, Mark, that for the second time ever, I chose to purchase some yarn from Amazon recently, and I'm waiting for it to arrive. I'm always afraid to buy online because I'm always fearful that I don't have enough for a specific project, and then what am I going to do about that? And time flies when you're having fun and answering questions. So there you have it. I don't think we have anything else pending today. So unless some other cues show up on my screen in the next few minutes or next couple of minutes, I think we have just had another Coffee and Headlines. As always, I thank you for sharing time with us, and I thank you for your comments, and I thank you for your questions. And as always, I encourage you to stay safe, stay in touch, and take care of yourselves as we always try to do. I hope to see you again tomorrow. And if not tomorrow, sometime in the near future. I did catch a comment early on that I forgot to acknowledge, which came from Ricky Stein, who says coffee was automatically renewed today. Good for another year. Thank you very much for your support, Ricky. I also want to comment that I got another dispute from PayPal from somebody who probably forgot that renewals happen automatically. If this continues, if this stops being a project that you wish to support, no big whoop, but kindly look at your renewal date so that you don't end up with a charge on your credit card that you did not anticipate to make. If anybody wants to know when your expiration date is, you can always log in on your own to buy me a coffee, or you can just drop me a quick note and I will be happy to let you know when your expiration date is coming up so that we can avoid any extra charges on your side or my side to cancel these payments. So that's it. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.